Hello, my name is Joe. I'm a student here at J-Tech in Jacksonville, Florida. Today I'm going to show you how to do a complete system check on the air systems on this Peterbilt we got sitting here. So the first thing you want to do is drain all your air tanks, your supply tank, primary, and secondary. On this one, that happens to be 3 separate tanks. On some trucks, the primary and the supply tank might be combined. In any event, our supply tank is down here behind this battery box and step, and it has a pole cable. So we're just going to drain all the air out of it. We're looking for water and oil. Water can get in there if the air dryer's not operating properly. Oil would be a sign that there's an issue with the compressor. It's just about done. Give it a few more moments here. And as you can see, we got a little bit of grease on our hands, some on the ground. Next, we're going to do our primary tank. This one just has a So the other side's just finishing up draining. I'm going to go ahead and turn the and we're going to let that drain. Again, we're looking for water and oil coming from those. But once those are all drained, we're going to make sure they're shut, and then we're going to move inside the cab. Okay, so now we've got our air tanks all drained. You can see our gauge air pressure here is down to 0. That's what we're looking for. We're just going to start this up, make sure we're in neutral, do a safe start. And we're going to build that air pressure up. Now, one of the things you should hear right now is a buzzer or some sort of an alarm, because our air is at 0, but you don't hear anything. That means the light buzzer portion of this test failed. There's something wrong with this buzzer, that it's not going off. This here is our air light, low air indicator light. And so what we're going to do with that is I'm going to raise the RPMs and note when this light goes off at what point on the air PSI gauge. Should be around 60 to 80. So I'm just raising the RPM. I'm trying to build my air pressure up. You notice here there's 2 needles, white and what appears to be orange or red. White is primary tank, the red one is the secondary tank. One of the easiest ways to tell if you have an air leak, obviously, is going to be by sound. You're going to hear it if it's significant enough of an air loss. Then it's just a matter of locating it. These trucks have 3 systems, basically. You got your supply system, your service, and then your parking and emergency brake system. Primary tank, so in any event, on your supply system, you're not going to notice an air loss if it's a small air loss and you can't hear it by your gauges. Your gauges aren't going to reflect that air loss. They're not going to drop air pressure because these are only measuring your primary and secondary tank. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. But right now we're still building up our air pressure. We're at about maybe 70. Our air light is still on, and we're just going to watch for that when it goes on. I'm going to give it a little bit more RPM. still on, and we're getting close to our next part of the test. And if I remember correctly in this truck, this light will not go out even at 120 psi. So let's start talking about the other air buildup portion of the test. When you get between 85 or about 85 psi, the air pressure should build up from 85 to 100 in 45 seconds. So what you need to do is have a watch out or use your phone or whatever, and you want to make sure that air pressure is going to build that 15 psi, 85 to 100 within 45 seconds. If it doesn't, that indicates that you may have an issue with the supply system of the supply side of the air system. For whatever reason, the governor is not building up the air pressure fast enough in those primary, secondary tanks. Okay, so once that's done, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and continue to build up our pressure to the cutout, which should be between 120 and 130. So I'm just going to raise the RPMs, watch the pressure build. When that cuts out, you're going to hear a sound, basically. That's the air escaping from the air dryer, but it's also telling you that the governor has cut out as well. And you may not be able to hear it from here because of the noise inside the truck. All right, we're approaching the 120 mark. We'll see how long it takes for that air governor to cut out. There it goes. I don't know if you heard it, but it just cut out. So now our air is stabilized. The next thing we're going to do is check our governor cut-in pressure. And to do that, I'm going to lower or apply the brake pedal here. I notice I've got a pretty good air drop there. But anyway, I'm going to apply the brake pedal, get this down to the point where the air governor cuts back in. And that should be between 20 and 30 psi from where it cut out at. So for it to pass, it would need to cut in at 90 psi at a minimum. So right now we're about 100. I'm looking to see if my needles are rising. They're not. So we go further down. Now I'm closer to 90. They're still not moving. Give it a little fuel. And I can see the needles are rising. So that was within that 30 psi window, so that actually passes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to build the air pressure back up and shut the vehicle off and watch the gauges for 2 minutes to note if there's any air losses out of our primary or secondary tank. So we'll be back with that in just a moment. So we're at 120. I'm going to shut the truck off. You can probably hear me a little better now. And I'm just going to watch this air pressure gauge for 2 minutes, watching those needles. Right now we don't have a trailer hooked up to the tractor, so there should be no more than 4 psi air loss in two minutes. If there was a tractor, it'd be no more than 6 psi in 2 minutes. So we're just going to watch that for 2 minutes. Okay, so it's been 2 minutes and no significant air loss noticed on this dial. So the next thing we would do if we had air loss would be start the truck up and rebuild that air pressure. We haven't lost any, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this back on. We're at 120. We're good there. I'm going to go ahead and kill it. Sorry about that last stop. Communication error with the cameraman. Anyway, So the next part of the test, we're just going to apply about 80 to 90 psi of air pressure through the foot pedal here, and do the same thing. Wait for 2 minutes and see how much air loss occurs. So once you apply it, you hold it steady. There'll be some initial air loss. You know, it dropped a little bit, but that should settle out and not continue to leak if we don't have any air leaks in the vehicle. So we're going to watch this for 2 minutes. Okay, so the next part of our test here is we're going to turn the key to the on position. We're going to push in our yellow. Again, there's going to be some initial air loss, but then we're going to, hopefully that stabilizes on the gauge. And if it does, we're going to watch it for 2 minutes to make sure we don't have any other air loss out of the system. Once 2 minutes has gone by, and if there's been no air loss, then you're going to restart the truck, build it back up to 120, and we're going to do an applied air loss test. So we're up close to 120. Now we're going to turn the engine off, turn the key back to the on position, and I'm going to apply about 80 to 90 psi through the foot pedal here. After the initial air loss, I'm going to watch my needles again and make sure that there's no additional air loss after that. So I'm going to watch this for 2 minutes as well. And if after 2 minutes there's no additional air loss, you're able to move on to the next part of the test here, which is going to be to drain our air tanks one at a time, the primary and the secondary. What we're doing there is we're checking the one-way check valve. If I open up the primary tank, that needle should drop, but not the secondary. If both of them drop, that means there's a problem with the one-way check valve. So I'm just going to step out here really quick. You can hear the air escaping. And you notice the white primary needle is going down, but so is the red. Now, it may settle out here, but the red one should not have moved at all. It should have remained stationary because we're only losing air out of the primary. So that says there's something wrong with that one-way check valve. Next, we're going to restart the truck, build the air back up, and we're going to do the same thing with the secondary tank. Okay, so air pressure's back up. Again, I'm going to turn the truck off, turn the key back to the on position, and then I'm going to ask Tony, who just walked away on me, to turn that valve on the secondary tank, which I'll just go ahead and do. Wait. Hey, Tony. Yep. Can you turn that valve on the secondary tank for me, please?
All right, ready?
Yep. So now we're just going to watch our gauges. And you notice the secondary is moving, the primary did not. That's how it's supposed to go, not the way it did the first time. That's good, thank you. That's good. Okay, so now we have a truck with a trailer, so we can do the trailer portion of the air system test. First thing you're going to want to do is look at your air lines from the tractor to the trailer. Make sure they're good, no cracks. bulges, anything like that. Check your grommets on your airlines. Make sure that they're intact still. This one you can see is missing part of the grommet. That could probably be replaced. It's not going to cause an air leak necessarily, but you know, when you notice it, might as well go ahead and replace it. So we're just going to pop that back on there. Now, the next thing we're going to do is come up here. All right, so now we're going to do the in-cab portion here. Our air pressure is built up to 120. The key is on the on position so that the gauge still operates. And one thing I wanted to say earlier, I forgot to mention, is when you start one of these trucks, your ABS light should come on and go off. That means the ABS system is working properly. If it doesn't do that, there's an issue, or if it comes on and stays on, obviously there's an issue. In any event, I'm going to supply air to the trailer brakes by pushing in the red button. And after the initial air loss, keep an eye on the gauge. Make sure that's not dropping after it settles out. And then you can walk back and check and listen for any air leaks along the line. This truck doesn't have any, so we'll be able to move on to the next step, which is we're going to apply pressure to the brake system with the foot pedal. And again, we're watching our air gauge. After the initial air loss, we're checking to make sure that there's no additional air loss. And you'd watch this for 2 minutes like you did the other one. Again, with the tractor trailer, you'd want no more than 6 psi lost out of that system. So, finally, last thing we want to check is the tractor supply safety valve, protection valve. And the way we do that, we have air supply. We're going to pop this red line here. When that happens, you're going to hear a loud sound, but there should not be air continuing to escape after that. Which it had air continue to escape, which might indicate there's something wrong with that tractor protection valve. Well, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time.